And welcome to the weekly pool. It is myself and Sal and Tiffany and Jason Inman. So, as you guys may not know, Joel is currently sick, and Benny is like his voice
He's also
is.
sick.
Yeah, he's sick. His voice is he's not really sick, but his voice is just kind of vanished, just gone.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It's kind of distressing.
Yeah, it
His
is.
voice has left him.
He has no voice. He's a ghost.
He's a
Yeah,
ghost.
he's like Ariel, the Little Mermaid. Like, he must be in a seashell.
Exactly.
Yeah, like the like Ursula took it, and so
Yeah, Ursula.
she's going to be like Ursula, the complete story. You will be seeing that channel
Ursula,
pretty soon.
The Ursula of the YouTube comic book scene was
Whoever
just
that
captured,
is.
whoever that might be.
Ursula Storian, like she will be there. She will be doing stuff. So, because of the fact that news is a little scarce, because it is Thanksgiving week, you guys, and because we figure that there probably won't be an episode of the pool just because it's gonna be Thanksgiving. We figured we'd just kind of have a roundtable discussion on what we figured our picks were for all new, all different Marvel and DC Rebirth so far. So we encourage you guys in the chat to throw out your own thoughts. I mean, like tell us, what comics you enjoyed, and we'll try to add them to the discussion. But Jason, you want to kick this off? So many J's. You want to kick this off, then?
Sure. Do you want to just like pick one and then go round robin, or do you want to me to be like, here's 10?
We'll just grab one and we'll make a discussion out of it, and then
let's
move
go
on to the
round
next one, and we'll do
All right.
that.
Well, since I get to go first, then I'm going to grab what I think is the best comic book of the year, and that is Peter Tomasi's Superman.
You stole one.
Saw that coming.
Yep, right out the gate. I think if you look at DC Rebirth as a whole, there's a lot of wins. There's a lot of wins all around, but the one title that I hear everybody talking about, and deservedly so, is Patrick Gleason, Peter Tomasi's Superman. The fact that the idea of Jonathan Kent and being this new Superboy, I think at first, to a lot of people was like, well, I don't know about this, and do we really want Superman to have a son just like Batman? But it's worked, and it's worked so well, and I think the reason that it works so well is because when I got a chance to talk to these guys at San Diego, they said that they write John as if he is one of their children, because they both have children, and they're like, we're just writing our own kids right here. And I think that bleeds through in the page, and if you're not reading Superman, I think everyone on this panel will tell you that you are missing out.
That's right. No question. I mean, it's funny. I've always been anti-Batman having a kid. Like, I when Damian first came on the scene, I was just a staunch no. And he has, by virtue of his existence, has had, some good stories that have involved Damian. So I've I guess you could call it warmed up to the character. But at the core, my favorite Batman stories all involve a Damian-less world. But I have never questioned Superman having a kid.
Mm-hmm.
When they when it happened in Convergence in the spin-off series, when he was first born, I'm like, there's a good move. There's a good move for this character. I think the Superman being a father is kind of like something we never expected, but something that was also kind of inevitable.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And now that it's here, it's kind of like, of course. I mean, the fact that Superman is an ideal that we all have to strive for, and he's the all-American but all-world's favorite superhero. He's the best, and he's the brightest. It makes sense that we'd see him being a dad, and that he'd be a pretty terrific pop. That's kind of cool. And seeing that realized and watching, it's funny how the pitfalls of Superman's fatherhood for me are he's being he's a little overbearing. That's kind of his major failing as a dad.
But flip that on his side. If there's anybody that's going to teach you how to be a superhero, Superman's the person you want.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
exactly.
Superman was Dick Grayson's favorite superhero of all time, and he kind of saw him as not maybe not a father figure, but certainly a great uncle that came over all the time. Superman is the father of superheroes, and it makes sense to see him being a superhero or a father in and of himself. It's great. I mean, and it's only the story. You feel like the stories write themselves, but I think we can say that because Peter J. Tomasi was writing it first.
Yeah. Dude, it is, man.
Although Dan Jurgens, I think, wrote the first one. I think that he.
Well, Dan Jurgens wrote the miniseries called Lois and Clark that introduced John and introduced this new Superman, but. And that miniseries is good as well, and I would put that as one of the best books of this year as well.
Yeah,
but Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason co-writing this Superman run has just elevated it
easily.
Yeah.
Oh no, I enjoy the adventures that Clark and John go on in Action Comics, particularly the most recent 2-parter where they went to the where they were in the New Frontier.
Yeah, and then
universe.
also there was a great scene where John asks his dad about his costume and points out, like, why did you wear your underwear on the outside? Why did you used to do that, Dad?
Those are not. It's not underwear, son. They
Yeah.
were
He's
sewn
like, it's a
into
one
the
piece.
pants. They broke up the color. They which he's right. It did. It was a great color breakup.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh no, you stole the best one.
Yeah, right out of the gate. No, it's super cool because when they were like, "Hey guys, here is the Adventures of Lois and Clark. Like, here's Superman of the New 52," and we knew that we were going to be seeing what? Oh, anyway, Benny said something in the chat. I can't see it.
It's we got a donation today for $50, and apparently it's legit. So
What?
We should definitely give a shout out.
Yes, Splooge, thank
our
you.
friend, thank you.
Who gave us a $50 donation?
I'm not in the chat, so I don't know.
Wow.
We'll get Danielle on that.
Yeah, Danielle will definitely send
Yeah.
you a thanks and let us know.
Yeah, definitely let us know. But no, like when it was like, hey guys, here's the pre-New 52 Superman in the New 52, then that was kind of like the writing was on the wall. Like, okay, you don't just do that. Like, something's gonna happen. They're gonna kill off the New 52 Superman. They're gonna do something, and he's gonna come back. And then they brought him, and it was funny because when they were like, well, the pre-New 52 Superman's going to take the place of the New 52 Superman, I'm like, hey, that's cool. Good luck telling a story that hasn't been told since 1938. Like, have fun, like, squaring that circle. And then they were like, we're going to talk about his son, and I was like, huh.
They found a way.
They found a way, and so I was like, wow, that's actually really awesome, and it works
Let's
well.
say-
It works so well.
Do a deep dive, like in your memories, like thinking about like the stories, like the fantastical stories. I'm thinking about like Batman from the 40s when they had those alternate reality stories where he married Kathy Kane, and they had Batman 2 and Robin 2, and they had like their sons.
Yeah.
Had they really ever done any like alternate reality, but like still within like the world's finest banner? Superman has a kid stories. 'Cause
No,
I
as
feel
far
like
as I know,
we
they've never
haven't
done-
seen that
No.
in any iteration.
Now, I don't know if Superman ever having a kid. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. Generations. Generations followed the idea of Batman and Superman having kids, and
Especially with Super Sons, yeah.
and then carrying on that. That was the only time that ever happened. But no, in terms of like that's never happened. Well, obviously, it's never happened in continuity, and it's never happened outside of Generations. It's always just been that. The only other exception to that I know of that's even relatively close is the Superman 1 million, or I guess DC 1 million, but all you had were people that just carried on the lineage of the Superman dynasty. But as
Yeah.
far as I know, they were never like genetic offspring for him.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is the first time in continuity. The rest of them have been like what we used to call like imaginary stories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But no, so I think the coolest thing about Superman having a son is it's grounded Superman, because he's like I have a kid. Like my greatest moment, and I want to kind of, Tiffany, you have anything to offer on Superman?
No, you just go for it, man.
Oh, okay. Like transitioning to Super Sons, right? Not really Super Sons, but transitioning to the most recent story arc where they set the stage for Super Sons.
Yes.
Superman busting into the Batcave, mad as hell because his son went missing, is like the quintessential parent response to anything like that. And I even said that in the video. I was like, this is not Superman angry at Batman. This is not Superman that wants to beat the hell. I was like, this is Superman, the concerned father. You know, I was like, you don't take the cubs away from Mama Bear. You just don't do that. You know. And I was like, you don't do that with Superman's son. You know, and it was God, it's solid. I love the aspect of Jonathan. Like, him and Damian are so different. They're not remotely close to each other, but they just work. And it just comes out so great. It feels really organic and pretty genuine.
If anything warms me up to Damian, it'll probably be Super Sons.
Yeah. Because right now, like literally every like from the time it was Damian, what is it? Robin, son of Batman. You know, when it was Batman and Robin, it was literally all just Damian. It was giving us like fleshing out the backstory of him, and then him just making up for all the bad stuff that he did. You know?
Yeah.
And that was about the extent of it. And so I was like, well,
actually, it's funny thing is this same exact creative team, for my regards, made one of the best runs of the New 52. Their Batman and Robin run, the 40-issue run that's all about Damian and Bruce Wayne. It's the run where Damian dies and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
it's great. It's one of the best series in the New 52. So like, I had no doubt when they were taking over. And let's give thanks for Superman for introducing us to the amazing artwork of Jorge Jimenez.
Oh God,
Super Sons. It looks amazing.
Yes. It really takes on a life of its own. It's insane how good. Okay, having said that,
Okay.
Rob, you just interrupted yourself.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Having said that, I
What's
want
your-
to
What's your pick?
my pick. God. Well, now that I can't have Superman, Jason.
Super Son.
Now that I
You
can't
can't-
have Superman.
You gave me first choice. I was taking it out of the gate.
Oh, it makes it's. Oh, I don't disagree with you in the slightest. I would say right now one of my favorite titles coming out is was Robert Venditti's opening arc. I'm sorry, not Robert Venditti's. Sam Humphrey's opening arc, and really what he's done so far with Green Lanterns. Like I think Green Lantern stands out as fantastic, and here's the reason why. I was initially worried when we were getting Green Lanterns. When I read the Rebirth issue, and I was like, okay, this doesn't really seem like it's going to go anywhere, because how many people really care that much about Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz by themselves? You know, like how many people would really be that interested? But it works. It works well because I like the idea of them learning how to be Green Lanterns while they're Green Lanterns, because they're literally left to their own devices. Hal Jordan's like, here's a central powder battery, like you got to share it so you guys work together. You guys are the Green Lanterns verse. Peace. I got to go find the core, and then he bails out. He just takes off.
What?
You know?
I also say that series did a really cool thing by, usually when Green Lanterns get their rings, or we saw this actually through all the color cores, they can immediately make constructs.
Right.
And they did this thing with Jessica where she couldn't figure it out until like 7 issues in.
Yeah.
I like that because it really humanizes her. It makes her kind of like relatable. I'm trying to like I imagine that manipulating the power ring is something kind of akin to having a dream and trying to like manipulate flight. You know, like when you're trying to lucid dream and you're like, okay, here we go. I'm aware I'm dreaming. Superpowers. And you're like, it's like flexing a muscle you don't have. And I can imagine that being kind of complicated and frustrating. And man, that's really cool. It's well articulated in that book.
Yeah, no, it comes out really well in terms of her character. Plus, like we just saw the new edition of the Phantom Ring. That I think changes everything, because now it's a ring that no one has to choose. Now, as far as I can tell, there's no difference between like the Phantom Ring and the White Lantern Ring, except for maybe a couple abilities of the White. But in terms of what it can do in taking on all the other Lantern cores, the fact that the Phantom Ring doesn't require doesn't require like a person to be selected. Anybody can just pick it up and use it. And I think that's like the biggest difference between the two. But no, it's stellar right now because the Green Lanterns series is designed for people who want to get into the Green Lantern mythos, but they're like, I don't want to sit down and read 3 omnibuses worth of Jeff Johns stuff in order to understand what's going on.
Though I will say that if you had to read anybody's omnibuses to try and get caught up, Jeff Johns is probably the easiest to do.
Fair point.
Johns is so accessible, and everything that he writes is kind of straightforward and kind of like the good Michael Bay, like The Rock. You just like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, I remember kind of avoiding, the groundwork for a lot, like when he first started, like his rebirths, like Flash Rebirth and Green Lantern Rebirth. But when I finally did pick it up, I'm like, wow, how accessible is this? It's like everybody who was telling me to read this in the first place was totally right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't argue with Jeff Johns being your kind of jumping on point. But that said, like it's great to be able to go back and be like, oh well, I guess I'll just go back and read it. Johns' work, totally easy to do.
Okay, Sal, your choice.
My pick, it's a Batman book. I love. I've been loving what Batman has been doing since New 52. But my favorite Batman book from DC Rebirth has to be Detective Comics from James Tynion IV and Eddie Barrows. The Barrows art is phenomenal, and thanks to his work on Batman Eternal and his work working with Snyder and his backups and everything like that, Tynion IV has really come into his own and become his own most competent Batman writer. And right now, I gotta say, like I think Tom King is wrote one of the best titles Marvel published in the last year or two, but his Batman is leaving me cold, and the deeper in we get, the further away I have to say I'm getting from King's writing for Batman. And Scott Snyder's All-Star Batman is fantastic, but I like Detective more. It feels more Batman for me, but it's also embracing the spirit of Rebirth.
Now, can I flip this devil's advocate on you, Sal?
Yeah, let's
Are
hear
you
it.
liking it because it's the team-up book, or are you liking it because, like, you think the story is just better than Batman? Because, like, I actually think that I kind of agree with you with the Tom King Batman run, but what I'm finding with the Tom King Batman run is that if you read it every other week, it's very hard to get into. But if you read it all in one go, it's kind of like Omega Man. It opens up like this Pandora's box of like awesomeness.
I mean, here's the thing. I love the concept behind I Am Suicide.
Mm-hmm.
That, especially the idea of, because we're getting basically 2 Bat titles where Batman forms a team and they conquer evil. You've got one that's a little more like in the dirt, gritty, and that's Tom King's, and I'm loving the idea, but the execution for me, and I mean, by the way, the art is phenomenal on this most recent issue. I don't remember who did the art for.
It's like Mick Jannels or I don't know. I can't remember his
Right?
name.
Yeah, but they're fantastic. Is that double page ventriloquist Catwoman scene is just unbelievable. But for me, the dialogue and the characterization is kind of like, it reminds me of Straczynski's run on Spider-Man, which is to say that it will be remembered, and people will have, and it will have succeeded in bringing in new readers, and people will be diehard fans for it. But if you're a longtime fan, you will notice that the creator is playing fast and loose with continuity and characterization, and it's because they just don't care to read the old stuff. And it's kind of like, okay, you know, Catwoman isn't really like that, but you don't care because you want to make Catwoman like that. And a lot of people don't care because it's well executed and it's interesting. But that's not Catwoman, you know, or like Batman doesn't talk like that. That's kind of really weird. But some people are going to really resonate with, or it's going to resonate with a lot of people for that. So that's kind of cool. For me, Tynion's like, this is Batman. And this is what Batman would do in this case. Like, seeing Batman mourn the loss of Tim Drake, seeing Batman form this team, Batman's relationship with Basil Karlo, and the way that he is working with Batwoman.
That's
for me,
the part of that book that I like the most is the reformed Clayface.
Oh yeah. And I'm worried. You know, the cynic in me is like, that fall is going to be so hard for Clayface. It's going to be so rough.
Yeah, you know it's coming.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping it'll be more like 90s Sandman, where it was like, no, Sandman never really went back to being a villain until lesser writers had no better ideas. And it's like, no. You could make a book. Like, you could have a Clayface book, like an anti-hero Clayface book, where he's like, I was trained by Batman, and I learned that I could be a better person, but I will kill you with my Clayface powers. Like, I'm down for that. I think that there is a future where that exists.
Yeah.
But I'm loving Tynion's Batman. I think that's the breakout Bat title of DC.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think like Detective Comics. The reason why I like Detective Comics is because it has impact. One of the big drawbacks with Batman right now is that it really is just kind of him and Duke, and that's it. You know, in the Batman title. I mean, you've got I Am Suicide, which is cool, but in Detective Comics, they all believe Tim Drake died. And so, like, you see, like, how the whole Bat family is affected by the presumed death of Tim Drake, as opposed to just Bruce Wayne and Duke. And so you see them, you know, going into Night of the Monster Men, and you've got Batwoman, and you've got Gotham Girl, and you've got, you know, Dick Grayson, and you've got Bruce Wayne, and you've got Duke, you know, and you have that really cool opening in the first issue of Night of the Monster Men. You have that really cool scene where Batman's like, yes, I know we just got off Tim Drake supposedly dying, or Tim Drake dying, but we have to move forward and we have to stop this. And they all just kind of soak it up and then go in and, you know, and deal with it. And that's why I like it, is because it feels more cohesive. You know, it doesn't feel like it's a bunch of titles scattered to the winds. You get to see them all in one place. And I like the idea of seeing them all in one place and seeing them all interact with one another and so on and so forth. That's always kind of cool to me. So.
Yeah, I agree.
But Jason.
Oh yeah, Tiffany, what's your breakout?
Yeah, I was gonna say, make sure Tiffany gets her choice.
Oh yeah.
Also, what's in the tea?
It's cherry berry tea.
I was sitting here thinking that. I was like, is she pouring tea? Like, she just got like
The
a
chat
tea
was like,
kettle.
what is that, tea?
Straight up whiskey, boys.
Breakout title.
Oh wow, that's cool.
BB-8
It's a
teapot.
BB-8 teapot. Yeah,
With
that's
the
awesome.
teacup.
That's awesome.
So, anybody who knows me knows that I always read more indie than anything else.
Yes.
So for me, the breakout DC Rebirth book was Hellblazer. I like that Simon Oliver brought him back. He's more gritty. You know, immediately we go right into him being with Swamp Thing again. Not necessarily teaming up, because actually they're not. But, you know, just getting right back into it, pulling him out of New York, pulling him back where he belongs, in a sense. And I mean that legitimately. Like, let's explore beyond the continental U.S.
Yes.
Like, let's let Hellblazer go back to where things are truly old. And you know what I mean? Like, there are pagan roots, and it all just makes more sense for him to be over there. So I like where they're going with it. I know they're only on issue 3. I think issue 4 is coming out now, so it's kind of hard for me to just say that. Like, so
right,
like,
there's only been 4 months.
There's only been that much time, but like, I like magic. Hey, I figure we'll get to Marvel. Someone mentioned Doctor Strange in the chat. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
There's a whole different.
I have to give my
DC picks.
My DC pick, yeah. But and I like Maura Tat's art.
Oh yeah.
I hate saying that name because every time I'm like, I'm saying that wrong. I know I have to be saying that wrong. I think it works. I think he does a great job of portraying this dark, gritty, grimy world, and I like John Constantine.
Right.
I love to hate him. I know, like, if I met him in real life, I would be like, get away from me. And I think that they do a good job of putting that in this book. Like, he's not a like nice guy.
Right.
And that's what he should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't he's not a good person. You can't be in this line of work.
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. But Swamp Thing is so nice and so it
works out.
It's really cool, and like they're just doing these 2 different like things that eventually are going to come, and I like it. I like it a lot. So
totally.
There you go.
Yeah. So those are our favorite titles from DC Rebirth. We think those are the best ones. And
we all know if Joel were here, he would have said
Green Arrow. Yeah,
which
is a good book.
Which I read early on. I kind of dropped off of it, but it was fantastic.
Yep.
And like I didn't drop off of it because I was like, "Boo, it sucks." I dropped off of it because I was like, "Oh, I missed like 3
issues."
Crap.
Well, I mean, I kind of figure we can probably cram one more DC Rebirth in there for conversation. Jason, what's your what do you think?
Ooh,
we'll bring it back around to Jason again.
Back up DC Rebirth. I was not expecting to come back to DC Rebirth.
Yeah, right.
Oh, really?
Well, we're coming back.
Well, I was planning my Marvel book, but you know what? Let's see. You know, one that I really enjoy is actually, and I'm just wasting time because I'm coming up with a decision. You know what? I'm gonna stick with Superman. I like New Superman a lot.
Really?
Gene Luen Yang and
Victor Bogdanovic.
Yes, your old pal. And sometimes Billy Tan, I know, does some art. This is a concept that I've been like wanting DC to do for a long time. The idea that there are Supermen from all over the world, because they've done this all over the multiverse. So when this was first announced, I was like, this is a genius idea, because why wouldn't there be a Justice League of Africa? Why wouldn't there be a Justice League of Asia? It's not like specifically that superheroes only exist in North America. But they did an interesting thing in this, because they created this thing where the main character, Kenan, is a complete asshole.
Yes.
And he is terrible. And he is such a douche that you're just like, this is Superman? Like, I don't think so. And it's interesting because they have just increased the levels of douche on this guy, so much to the point that I don't know if we're ever going to see him become the hero. Like, you would think that would be the natural journey of this, like, that he would eventually, like, calm down and become the hero. I don't know. He is such an asshole that I don't think we're ever going to see that happen for this character. And that's kind of what makes this book great, because all the other characters in this book are constantly telling him that he can be that, and he could do that, and he could do this thing. He has this, he has the Chinese Batman and the Chinese Wonder Woman. He thinks Chinese Batman is thick, but he keeps calling him pudgy, and he won't ever call him Batman. And so it's just these nice little character moments, that are throughout this book that make me care for this character, this concept that I never thought I would. And then also at the same time, New Superman has this thing that I won't spoil, that you don't learn until about 5 issues in. And kind of flips the whole story and flips the whole dynamic. There's like this one little storyline that is mentioned over and over and over, and it's kind of in the background. And then in issue 5, it flips, and you realize that, oh, that's what this book is about. And I should have seen it all along. And Gene Yang has, I think, really written a book that, even if it doesn't go past 20 issues, which I don't know if it will or not, I think will be remembered as like one of the little nice little Easter eggs of DC Rebirth.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you got to try new stuff, and I think that was a great thing to try, even if it doesn't work out. Like, it was new and it was unique. Now, I haven't read it yet. I'm actually waiting for it to come out in trade before I read it. But no, I mean, having a Superman from another part of the world that you would just normally never see, because Superman's always been like a homegrown all-American hero, And then when you turn around and then you introduce, a Superman from another part of the world, Superman from from China, then it just changes things because it's like, okay, well now you get Chinese culture in your Superman mythos, and I think it would probably add a whole new dynamic.
Yeah, and it's another interesting thing too is I know that they're in Superman, the main Superman title, they're doing this storyline where all the Supermen are gonna meet, and then they're gonna go into they're gonna meet the multiversity Superman as well. Like it's this giant storyline of all the Superman. It's gonna happen in January, and I'm actually really excited because Kenan Kong, the new Superman, is going to meet Superman in that issue, and I kind of want to see what Clark Kent's reaction to Kenan Kong is.
Well, my question is, how does he not know about him? Because I assume it all takes place in New 52, right?
Yeah.
We're in the New 52 universe?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because like they say in the first issue that part of the reason why they created him was because of the death of the New 52 Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I would say that Clark Kent pre-New 52 Superman might not know about Kenan right now because he might have been dealing with Doomsday and dealing with John and all. He's worrying about John, so maybe he's keeping his focus narrow.
Well, the other half of
very
it.
busy.
Well, that's the kicker. Is once Lana Lang came out and revealed herself to be Superwoman, like Superman didn't seem to know about her. Had no idea that she was Superwoman, and so he's like, Lana Lang, like that was a funny thing. Okay, Jason. So since I robbed you of your Marvel pick, all right,
no,
we're gonna.
All right.
We're gonna.
No, we can go DC Rebirth again. Whatever, do whatever.
Well, okay, Sal. Marvel. Since we're coming up on the half-hour mark, so we'll switch over to Marvel.
Fair.
I think.
All right, we're getting into the all new, all different Marvel. Best title from all new, all different Marvel is the Vision.
Yeah.
Vision is.
You've been ranting about the Vision forever.
It's just because it's just so great, and it's funny because like I've been reading a couple of other things by Tom King, and I'm like, oh, this is the book by Tom King that I like. Like. It is not because I'm a huge diehard Tom King fan. It's not because, the dude can do no wrong. It's just, dude knows robots and nails it. Like, it is Marvel Blade Runner, and I am so on board for that. It takes everything that I like about robots. It's like, the best part of Prometheus is all that stuff without the aliens, just about David, just about the robots. Like, he actually manages to make, because there have been Vision books in the past. I've never given a crap about Vision at all. I don't care about synthezoids, and if they can cry, I don't care. But that ending, this phenomenal ending to this incredible series, 12 issues, it's why I like self-contained things. Like, I just heard Westworld is getting a season 2. I'm like, darn, because I want it to be this beautiful ending. I want it to be this, like, Fabergé egg of a series that just kind of stops and is this one thing. But, like, Vision its kind will never come again. Like, the writing is sharp, the characters are beautiful and real, the story is ingrained in Marvel continuity. It works. It is self-referential. It's part of the greater Marvel landscape. What's telling about it is that Marvel is trying to hitch its wagon to this like moving train. Like, they're just like, oh, Viv, she's cool. Put her on the champion. Like, ooh, like Vision went nuts. Like, ooh, make reference to that in the all new, all different Avengers, which is an awful title. Like, just a fantastic series about inhuman characters. And forgive the inhuman reference. I don't mean to say that they're inhuman, but like not real people. And it explores these themes and ideas that if you're a big sci-fi fan, you're gonna love and really appreciate. And he paints a really beautiful picture. And what is it? Walta is the artist on it, and it's just awesome. And of course, Mike Del Mundo does the covers, which are perfect. Yeah. It's just all around. It's just like, wow, you made something great in a world where it's like hard to do something with no blemishes. There's no issue where you're like, you read it and you went, why did they do that? It's just everything fits. It's a perfect...
I'm also very surprised that they let it be like completely untouched by everything else going on in Marvel.
Agreed. Yeah. No reference to Civil War II. Like, even Neil Gaiman's Eternals had to be a Civil War tie-in.
Yeah, right?
Come on. But this book has none of that, and it has a very small cast, and you get to know everybody, and you care about them, and people die, and it's real. It's a real great book, and it's just like, I can't hype it up enough. People want us to do it on back issues, and I'm like, no, go read it.
Dude, the only reason why I even did the video, like why I even read it, is because you said it was so amazing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well,
And
I'll sit down and I'll read it. And I was like, God, this it's literally a story about the Vision failing to have his own family. Like it's literally, it's just like, it's Tom King like, hey guys, here's a 12-issue story about the Vision failing in the most colossal personal way possible.
Well, you take the concept of like, oh, don't worry, the Vision, a non-human robot man, he just built himself a family. Like, oh, well, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Like, you just automatically know that's not gonna work because of history, time, humanity, science fiction, the Marvel Universe itself. Like, you know it's not gonna work, and he does it anyway. And that's like, yeah, that's called being a father. Like, oh, you're raising a kid in this time? That's the worst decision you could make, and yet we do it anyway. Like, it explores these themes and concepts that you're like, yeah, this is real. Like, way to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Vision's great.
It's also the ultimate downer comic book, so be ready for that if you haven't read it.
Yeah. But
has a
it's so
little
well written
bit
though.
at the end, but it's
Yeah.
Yeah, it's extremely well written. Okay. I'm anybody who's been watching my channel for the last few months knows they know what I'm getting ready to say. Now, up until recently,
Miss Marvel.
No.
Civil War II.
Civil War II.
right?
Naturally.
No. It is most definitely all the X-Men titles. No. Up until recently, it was Ultimates, but it's not Ultimates anymore. It is Jeff Lemire's Old Man Logan, is what it is. Dude, Old Man Logan's is hands down one of the. Dude, it's one of the best. Let me tell you something. Like, Rob Core, fanboy. This Old Man Logan story. This is going to go down as one of the best Wolverine stories ever told because it's what was needed. Like, prior to this, Wolverine was just a guy, like, he just showed up and destroyed stuff and then, like, went and drank beers, and that was him. That was the story. Like, hey, we need a story where a guy just, like, tears things up that's not the Punisher. It's like, okay, well, then let's have Wolverine do it. And that's it. But, like, Jeff Lemire's writing has character. It has depth. I genuinely care about Maureen, the chick that Old Man Logan married in his universe. I was like, and I like how he peppers in how the villains took over the world. Like, I like how it's just the thing that gets thrown in from time to time. And his character, even himself, like his whole mission, like the whole gist of the writing so far is, I have to stop my future from happening. Which seems like a pretty straightforward story, but the way it's told is incredible. Like, it's unbelievable because he's trying to figure out the universe he's in, plus he's trying to stop that from happening, and it's like he can't reconcile the fact that he's just in a different reality. Yeah. You know, like, it was extremely good.
Yeah, plus Sorrentino's art.
Oh God, yeah. Sorrentino's art makes that story good. Like, it makes it incredible. The writing's good, but the art just changed. Like, it sets it from everything else in all new Marvel.
It is a rowboat of a comic book.
It
You
is.
need these two people to work together and make it happen. Otherwise, you're just not gonna. It's not gonna work.
Well, I mean, think about it. If you had Old Man Logan with anybody but Jeff Lemire writing it, alongside anybody but Sorrentino drawing it, would it be as effective as it is now? It would probably be good, but it wouldn't be as effective. Because Jeff Lemire has a very particular style of writing when it comes to characters' inner monologues. And it just works. It just works really, really well. The future. The future! Gotta stop the future. Those Bishop references, dude, they're all about that, man. Like, the chat is all about that.
Oh, I know. They love our Bishop jokes.
The future. Like, you guys should type that more. You guys should just type that some more. The future. Yeah. But Jason, okay. I want
to hear Tiffany's Marvel Now title.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can go with Tiffany then. Tiffany.
Well, guys, chat. You already know what my title is gonna be.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what it's gonna be.
So moving on.
No. The best thing that has come out of all new, all different Marvel, hands down. Get your robots out of the way. Get your geriatric mutants out of the way. Doctor Strange. Jason Aaron's Doctor Strange. Aaron took on the job of having to write a character who has been pushed to the side because of the fact that he's either been marked as too powerful or nobody wanted to deal with him. He had a movie coming out, and they had to do something. And what he did was he said, all right, I'm going to figure this whole thing out. He gave it rules. He created an amazing whole, like, storyline which involved the destruction of magic and what would happen after that. He was unafraid of leaving it as is as the movie came out. He made me fall in love with Doctor Strange all over again. He created an amazing relationship between he and Wong and Zelma as well. Like,
yeah.
I love what he has done with Doctor Strange and magic as a whole in the Marvel Universe. And I think that that's a monumental feat to take on, because nobody wants to deal with magic. They want it, but they don't want to deal with it, because it's like, well, he just, well, like,
This is complicated. It's hard to explain.
exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. But he figured it out, and he's left Strange in a place which is just fun and awesome and crazy, where it's like, all right, well, you don't have much magic. Now what are you going to do, Sorcerer Supreme? Because you're supposed to be taking care of things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you don't have access to magic, and it's going to take too much of a toll on you, if you're not going to deal with things in the basement anymore, and you don't have a crazy like Tibetan temple somewhere with like a whole bunch of guys who are taking that on with you, now what are you going to do? And I love that. I love that we went through the first 10 issues just leading to this. And that first 10 issues was so much fun. I had such a blast, and I just can't wait. And when he leaves this book, that's it.
Yeah.
They just might as
Oh,
well like
yeah.
Done.
Yeah, I'll probably walk away. No, because Zelma changes everything. Like, I don't know about you, Tiffany, but I think Zelda, I think Zelma changes the whole dynamic of the series.
She does it, 'cause Strange has had sidekicks before. He's had like assistants and secretaries in the past, in the long far past. He even had like a alien minotaur for a while as like a buddy.
Familiar,
No, he was training. Whatever, he was training.
Yeah, but I mean, like Zelma represents like the fan going, like the reader.
Yes.
Like,
oh no, she's the closest I'm ever gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it's
Yeah.
like,
You actually being Doctor Strange.
Kind of. I mean, like, she's a reminder of the outside world for him in a way. Like, in my opinion, like, Zelma is like this is what you're saving all the time, and now it's in your face. And she's also really useful because she's a librarian, so she can fix everything, and so it is an actual, like, symbiotic relationship. But I like her being there as being like hey, this is all really confusing and scary to me. What are you gonna do about it?
right.
And he's like, oh, right, yeah.
Oh, yeah. This isn't Tuesday for you.
Exactly. And like Bocciolo's art, I know out of the gate, people were like, no, I don't like it. It's too crazy. It's too weird. It's like, he found his stride, and he found, I think, a really good mixture of like doing what he wanted to do and like trying to, kind of throw back to Ditko in his own way, while also making it totally work for your average comic book reader. So like for me, Aaron and Bocciolo just go along perfectly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, his style of art's weird and it's kind of strange and it's kind of like it takes some getting used to, but it does fit in perfect with it because Doctor Strange is weird and it's strange and you see some crazy stuff. And yeah, it does work well with the whole jagged edges and the weird drawings of characters and how they look kind of
even
funny.
like that early on like use of like he would just use these like stark white and black images, and I think people are like, what are you doing? Like
See, like that I grasped right off the bat. Like in the first the one where he what was it that he did? He went against, I think it was when he first went against what's his name from that group that was trying to get rid of, that was getting rid of all the magic. And then he like
Empirical?
Yeah, the Empirical, and then he woke up in a park randomly, and then there's the scene, I think he's walking back or whatever it is, but he's like standing on the sidewalk and he's like fighting some demons and stuff. And it's like he's chilling there, but then like everything else like normal is black and white. It's the magical stuff that has color to it. And I thought that was a really good contrast because it shows
I love that. I think that it was just so not the norm. That
not at all.
And then paired with that, like, he's a super, like, stylistic approach to how he draws. So I think, like, with those two combined, people were kind of like, whoa, what's this? But you saw it evolve over time, and I think he's in an amazing place right now. And, like, I cannot wait to see where they take at least the rest of this arc. And if they do another one, even better. But, like, I'm just having such a blast right now.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. All right, Jason.
All right, I'm gonna go for the easy choice, as in the book that didn't hardly change at all when all different Marvel happened, and that is Silver Surfer. I read that. Silver Surfer has just been consistently solid. Secret Wars didn't even stop it. Mike Allred, Dan Slott are creating this book that, it's Silver Surfer Doctor Who, but like it probably, I think it definitely will go down as the definitive Silver Surfer run, simply for the fact that there aren't many others. And that's a problem with this character. And I like the fact that he's done a really good job of humanizing the Silver Surfer, because the Silver Surfer could be this character kind of like the Vision, where he's just a robot and nobody cares about him, and his powers are like 9 Infantitum's unstoppable. So
Yeah.
another reason, like, why do you care about him? And they did this like really sweet issue. I think it's like 3 or 4 months back, where Silver Surfer basically saved all of existence.
Yeah.
And because of it, it was when he was fighting the invaders from his own home planet, and he had to decide which planet would he fight for. Would he fight for Earth, or would he fight for like his long lost home and his love? And he fought for Earth. It kind of came into the ultimate Superman paradox. But then he used up all his power cosmic, and he had the entire issue is like he's stuck in the hospital, and it's got an amazing cover by Mike Allred where Dawn is like telling them all to be quiet, and they're all like leaning in. The Marvel, all of Marvel heroes are trying to lean in and see him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so the entire issue is them trying to protect the Silver Surfer because he like saved all of reality. And it's like, it's nice for the Silver Surfer to finally have like this nice little corner of the Marvel universe that he can have to himself, because he's not a superhero and he's not a robot. So it's like, what do you do with the Silver Surfer? And I think Dan Slott being like, let's just make him the Marvel Universe's version of Doctor Who, kind of has worked for him, and it's created this really nice, like you talked about with Vision, and like what you talked about with Old Man Logan, these nice little runs that stand apart from the Marvel Universe that just really work.
Yeah, it really is nice. We got a sub, Heelish, Splooge. Thank you for subscribing. No, dude, Jason, I could not agree with you more. I like what Dan, like, it is kind of cool that it picked up, but what I really liked about the whole character of Dawn, and one of the things that was funniest to me was in the first story arc, he's like, hey, we're gonna go find the Fantastic Four, and they're not there. He's like, so let's go to Alicia Masters, and Dawn's like, well, who's this chick? You know, and then Alicia Masters is like, oh yeah, I was a superhero and I fought alongside him at one point, and I got to ride on a surfboard, and like she got to do all the stuff that Dawn got to do, and Dawn's like, well, I thought I was special, and he's like, well, you know, I won't keep any more secrets from you, and so then Shala Ball comes back, you know, and she's like, well, who's this? And like Alicia's like, that's his ex, that's the woman that he was supposed to marry, and Dawn's like, really? Like, it was
the Silver Surfer 4.
Yeah, it was hysterical. But no, one of the funniest things that I really enjoy, because I like how Dan Slott takes a great blend of comedy and traditional Silver Surfer stuff and throws it in there. And one of the things that I really enjoyed was that we had, you know, when Silver Surfer chose Earth, and you know, Shala Ball's like, then you will suffer the punishment. Like, we're not going to talk to you anymore, and then just left, and that was his punishment.
Yeah.
But I like how he's just kind of on Earth now, like he's learning Earth life, and I think it's a great return to familiarity, because for those of you guys who don't know, out there in Twitch land who don't know, that was literally the first volume of the Silver Surfer. Like, Silver Surfer first showed up in the Galactus trilogy, he turned on Galactus confined him to Earth, he couldn't leave, and so the first volume, Anubis MG07, thank you for resubbing 5 months in a row, but like his first volume was, okay, well, what do we do with the Silver Surfer combined onto Earth now, like confined to Earth? And so that was him just going around and learning stuff. And as the years passed, you know, he went from that position to being able to leave Earth, to being out in the cosmos, to basically just being a character that showed up in crossovers. And now we finally get a thing back. So yeah, I was kind of hoping somebody would mention that. If Jason didn't mention it, I was going to at some point. But dude, Jason, I'm with you 100%. Like, Silver Surfer is solid. Like, it's really
it does the thing that like a lot of Marvel comics don't do, or a lot of comic books don't do. It's just fun and it's sweet.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes that's all you need. We don't need just comic books of people punching each other in the face and like, the world is gonna explode and I'm gonna grimace so much. Like, sometimes it's just nice. Like I'm looking at, when I was doing figuring out what Marvel I wanted to talk about, like the image I came up with is this amazing Mike Allred piece of art of Silver Surfer reaching his hand towards the reader, and the biggest thing I noticed about it is he's smiling at us. Yeah. And you don't really see that on covers.
Yeah.
No, and it's kind of also weird for Silver Surfer, because Silver Surfer's always been portrayed as kind of like an emotional kind of guy.
Yeah,
it's like,
right?
just kind of like, I am part of the cosmos. I just like sift through it. I mean, the image of Silver Surfer, or the for me, the epitome of Silver Surfer forever has been the 90s cartoon show.
Yeah.
Where it was just so somber and self-reflective and boring, and it was just kind of like, well, how can I reconcile where I am and what I've done, and my precious Shalabal is without me, you know, and you're just like, oh my god, Noran, you are really dragging this down. But Slott is infusing his genuine belief in reality and in like humanity, and he's taking all the joy that I think he feels, and he's infusing it into the Silver Surfer series. I mean, it's just And also, of course, his choice for Mike Allred is a great 90s pullback.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
yes, if anyone can draw the fantastic beauty of the Marvel Cosmos outside of Jack Kirby, it's Mike Allred.
Yeah.
And he does this great thing where he like makes it he can make it fun but without making fun of it.
Yes, exactly. Well said.
Thank you. That's what you got. So yeah, I agree with that. There you go, everybody. That's
awesome. Yeah, no. I guess I picked a really bad time to vape. No, it's
We put you on the spot,
put me
man.
on the spot. Yeah, no, it works pretty well. Okay, so continuing our discussion on all new, all different Marvel. Oh no, hold on. Who's next?
You.
Oh, me. Oh, okay, cool.
You, man.
All right. Well, then my next one would. Oh God. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Ultimates. Ultimates is pretty interesting in terms of what we're getting right now, just because of the fact that I like the Marvel cosmology. I like seeing, Galactus. I like him. I like him as a Lifebringer. I didn't think I would, to be honest. I thought it was a cheap gimmick, and it was a way to just, make him popular, or just, be like, hey guys, look at this Galactus thing, and because of this, you should go buy the Ultimates. I thought it was going to be kind of a gimmicky thing, but I think it's a great change of pace for his character. I think that's one of the things that's good about all new, all different Marvel. I mean, I've always advocated a reboot, not in the sense that you change everything up in the extreme like what you're doing now, but you're just literally like, hey guys, here's all the characters starting over again. Like Peter Parker just became Spider-Man, Iron Man, or Tony Stark just became Iron Man, and you roll it out in a way that it makes sense. But the idea, with Ultimates is it gives us the answer to a lot of questions we've been asking. When all new, all different Marvel first launched, it's like, okay, where do we stand in this universe now? Is it a reboot? Is it not a reboot? Is it just kind of a clean start? Is it not a clean start? And we had Molecule Man answer that question, saying, well, maybe it is, maybe it's not. It just depends on how you see it. Molecule Man set the stage for saying, at some point along the line, there's going to be a cosmic thing. My hope is that Reed Richards comes back to the Marvel Universe and is like, this is not the universe I made. Start over, and then they reboot from there.
Well, again, it's my hope that next summer at San Diego Comic-Con or even at WonderCon, that's what Marvel announces, is that we're resetting the line, guys, and we're starting back again. This is our Crisis on Infinite Earths, and we're restarting.
Yeah.
right.
Well, because
Even though
that's
Secret Wars should have been the Crisis, it was
Secret Wars should have been it, but Secret Wars to me, Secret Wars just made, for me, the Marvel Universe more confusing, not streamlined.
Well, it could have streamlined. It would have been like, oh, it's back, and now start at zero, and then everything else, because you had all the Secret Wars tie-ins that were coming out, which were elsewhere books. Like, you could be anything. So it gave you an opportunity to be like, okay, we've lined up new creative teams. They can start working on their number ones. We can all start getting together and sharing notes and working on a new cohesive universe that has all these new characters, and we're all starting at zero and stuff like that. At least, but now they have to manufacture what Hickman had already organically set up.
Yeah.
To do another Crisis. I mean, or to do a Crisis at all, or whatever you would call it in a Marvel world. A secret Crisis.
I mean, the stage was set. The ending of Secret Wars was Molecule Man and Reed Richards and Franklin Richards creating universes. And so it was like, hey, I've recreated the multiverse, and we're just throwing universes out into the multiverse. It was the perfect time for Marvel to come back and be like, everything's all new. We're resetting. We're going from zero. Because that's what I would have done. I would have been like 0 issues for everybody, all the teams. They all get 0 issues. They all start fresh.
It's interesting. It's interesting. We're saying that Marvel probably needs to create another event to make this happen, because DC actually had the same problem. If you remember Final Crisis, the end of Final Crisis is almost the perfect setup for the New 52, because the entire universe is destroyed and Superman has to rebuild it.
Yeah.
And then we went 2 more years and we got Flashpoint, where Flashpoint's an okay setup for the New 52, but Final Crisis is such the perfect lead-in to resetting your universe.
Yeah.
Especially,
so it's interesting that Marvel were going to do the same thing
with the name and with the fact that they wound up keeping original Superman anyway. You might as well just have original Superman reset the universe, and then have original Superman be like, okay, now I'm the steward of this universe, more or less.
I'm in it, and I'm going to teach these cats.
See, that's my thought, because right now in Ultimates, remember, Eternity's chained up. Some entity out there somewhere chained up Eternity and is holding him prisoner. I wouldn't be surprised if Ultimate set the stage or some event, and then Eternity gets destroyed or something like that. The universe gets wiped out and they just have to it just gets recreated. I don't know, but there's a lot of ways to do it. But I think the Ultimates is good, because for those of you guys out there who like cosmic stuff, those are the guys who like Galactus, who like, great big picture things, what's going on in the universe. Ultimates answers a lot of those things. The issue is that with Civil War 2 right now, as far as I can tell, with everything but the Vision, it's like an editorial mandate that everything be tied into Civil War 2. And so the Ultimates ties into it, which really just kind of wastes a lot of the storytelling potential that could be going on right now with the Ultimates. But it is still kind of cool because you can see that Al Ewing's working around it. Like, you can see Al Ewing's like, okay, fine, if I have to tie it into Civil War 2, then we'll tie it into Civil War 2 only insofar as Thanos escapes and Carol Danvers steps in, and then now the Ultimates are going to go pick up the slack. Like, that's about as far into Civil War 2 as it ties in, and that's about it. But you can see he's working around it and still going in the direction of his own storytelling. But yeah, I thought Ultimates was pretty solid. Yeah, definitely one of my picks.
And great art as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kenneth Rocafort.
Kenneth Rocafort. Yeah, his art's amazing.
Yeah.
But wrapping back around, anybody else have any ones they want to toss? I've got a couple one-offs that just came out recently that I wanted to toss out.
Champions is okay. I forgot to mention in DC, my favorite title from DC that had come out but wasn't part of Rebirth was American Alien.
Yeah.
Superman American Alien was fantastic.
That was great.
And I'm looking forward to the sequel series that's coming out.
Oh, he's doing a sequel to it.
Possibly.
Wow.
Possible. Just seeding that in there.
Yeah, I believe it's called. I believe it's the working title is Superman Agent of Batman.
Huh. That'd be interesting.
All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be Nightwing heavy, so we'll see.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
That's the rumor. I don't know, but American Alien's fantastic. I can't hype it up enough. But with Marvel,
yeah, with Marvel it's tough. You're just like,
yeah.
I mean, for me, I would throw out Star Wars Darth Vader, even though it's not a Marvel Now title.
Yeah, Star Wars is pretty good. Everybody's really liking it. It's setting up a good universe, and it's fitting in with all this other stuff. Like,
yeah, I'm no use to, because the other things I'm reading are Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme, which is the other Doctor Strange, one of the other Doctor Strange books that's coming out, and Doctor Strange and the Punisher.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Seventh Circle of Hell or whatever. Oh, is it Magic Bullets or like Seventh Circle?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay, Magic
I'll
Bullets.
also
Okay.
say
It's really fun.
what's it called? That other book, Renew Your Vows, started off with a good, with a good foot forward.
Yeah.
So I think Renew Your Vows has potential.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not in the universe. Yeah, that's kind of it. Also for DC, I gotta tell you, man, DC Universe Rebirth #1, still a fantastic book. Just overall, like, it was a great setup. It was a great issue. It was great art, good writing. It was just a fantastic issue. Just like, ooh, I kind of wanted there to be a DC Universe Rebirth series that just kind of like summed up everything that's happening and within its its own story. I know that it's like we're seeing seeds of it in like Flash and Titans and stuff like that, but like, it'd be nice to see like that book continue.
Trinity is actually quite a fun book too.
Trinity's
as well. With some
the
amazing
most
art.
recent issue blew my mind. Like, not blew my mind in terms of like, breaking new ground, but it was just so beautiful looking, and it was so well executed. It was just a just a joy.
Yeah.
Just a treasure to read.
It's incredible. My most recent favorite issue that just came out was Unworthy Thor #1. Dude, Unworthy Thor was it was good to see Nick Fury back as the Unseen. I like that we find. Yeah, I thought it was cool. It was a super cool.
I haven't read this book yet, so I'm kind of excited.
Oh, dude, okay, I won't ruin it too much. It's a incredibly awesome start to the return of Odin's son. So that I'm really excited about.
Jason Aaron's Thor run has been, I would say, like one of the heights, even all the way to the current one. Like, it has just been like one of the best solid series ever since Marvel started the whole change the adjective whatever now.
Right.
Yeah.
And consistent. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the kicker. And all right, Jason, tell me what you think about this, because Sal and I have talked about this before. So my thought was, Jason, like, the original plan for Jason Aaron was, all right, original sin happens, Thor loses his hammer, like Odin's son loses his hammer, and then in addition to the whole story arc of Jane Foster becoming Thor, that was when we also got Unworthy Thor. But I would imagine that with Marvel saying, no, we have Secret Wars, we have all new, all different Marvel coming up, you need to hold that. And you need to do Unworthy Thor after all new, all different Marvel. When you do it, we don't care, but it needs to be after all new, all different Marvel, because a lot of the stories that we got from Jane Foster Thor kind of felt like they were killing time. They kind of felt like they were just kind of just taking up space in order for the Thor title to stay out there in people's minds. But with Unworthy Thor, like, well, again, guys, I'm not spoiling too much what happens to Unworthy Thor for Jason here, but with Unworthy Thor, it feels like this is a story that could have come out like 2 years ago, is what it feels like. So.
Well, I kind of agree with you because Thor Odinson, like, he's been off the map for a very long time, and as we know from Marvel doesn't like to wait. Like, Marvel, when they kill somebody or do something, like, they'll leave him dead for 6 months and then they bring him back. Like, Steve Rogers was dead less than a year. Yeah. But Thor Odinson has been, like, kind of gone for a year and a half now.
So it's Logan, same deal. Like, real Wolverine, dead for a long time. 3 years, maybe? What is it? Not 3 years.
Yeah, real Wolverine's been dead for a while. But, well, I guess I don't know, like, where do you get in the argument of that where, like, if Old Man Logan is in the universe, there's technically a Wolverine around.
Yeah, so you got 2 Wolverines. You got X-23, you got Old Man Logan. Like, you got enough Wolverines.
Well, okay, no, let's be honest here, guys. The Wolverine that's currently sitting in case in adamantium, that's our Wolverine. All right. Like, Old Man Logan is a great Wolverine. X-23 is kind of a decent Wolverine, but our Wolverine is in case in adamantium.
You know, it's funny. Apropos your our Wolverine, I was just when I was doing conversions on back issues, we were talking about when the Earth 2 gang went to Gotham and, like, met Batman, and it was clearly pre-Flashpoint Gotham, and then Telos sends, like, all of Grant Morrison's favorite characters out to kill them, and then Joker shoots Dick Grayson, and then Telos shows up and snaps his neck. I was like, yeah, so then he does that. And Ethan goes, was that the Joker from pre-Flashpoint Batman? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. And he's like, so that's the real Joker. The Joker from, like, 1941 all the way to now is the Joker that they killed in that one scene. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's another ding. Like, you know, our Wolverine is encased in adamantium. Or he switched places with that doctor guy, and he's encased in
like Wolverine, like, he will come. Like, Wolverine will come back. They'll find some way to bring him back. But that Wolverine will return. That being said, if that happens, I'll honestly be a little disappointed, because I feel like the storytelling right now in Old Man Logan is second to none in terms of any Wolverine story that's ever been told at any point in the history of Marvel Comics.
Yeah, it's easily one of the best Wolverine stories.
Yeah, and I'd be disappointed to see him just kind of get shuffled off to the background. Like, after a run like this, it's like the Fantastic Four. Hickman did this incredible run, and then no one knew what to do after that. So they're just like, okay, background for you. You know, go back to where you were before.
Also because the head of Marvel's
like, I'll just take him to space because they want to.
Yeah.
I think that was because the head of Marvel said, I don't want to see another Fantastic Four member until we own it again. Get out of here.
You know, the weird thing is that I wonder if Old Man Logan will stick around in our universe for, like, 5 years, because X-Men actually has had a tendency to do that. Like, X-Men more so than any other section. Because think about, Jean Grey has been dead since Grant Morrison's new X-Men run in 05, 06?
Yeah.
I was going to say, like, 03, but yeah,
somewhere in there. And then we didn't have a Jean Grey in the Marvel Universe until All New X-Men, which was 2012.
Yeah.
So,
part of Marvel now.
There was no Jean Grey, but now our Jean Grey is still dead, but we have this young Jean Grey running around. So it wouldn't surprise me if Old Man Logan, like, stays around for 5 years.
Oh, well, like, think about how long Dark Beast was, like, shuffling around the X universe.
He's still around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember running into Dark Beast in a couple of stories back in the day, and I'm like, what are you still doing here, man?
Yeah.
I remember when he showed up in Dark Reign, that Norman Osborn storyline, and I was like, this character's still around?
That was the kicker.
Or get rid of this character yet? What is happening? So, like, Old Man Logan, as I understand, I've heard rumors that they're ending Old Man Logan.
I hope not.
Because the movie.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's not true.
But see, that's interesting, because I think that Old Man Logan, this new series, has only happened now, and I think the only reason they killed off the original Wolverine is because of that movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Corporate synergy.
Yeah.
I would like to think that Marvel would not come along and say, all right, Jeff Lemire, your time's coming up, because if they do that, if they canceled Old Man, they'd be cutting off their nose to spite their face, and it'd be one of the most boneheaded decisions that they could make, not just because I'm a huge fan, but because, one, it's selling well, and two, it is extremely well written.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like, Wolverine in and of himself, in particular Old Man Logan, for me, has always harkened back to a cowboy story. or like a Japanese-inspired samurai story, and typically they have an end. For good or for bad, there is a beginning, there's a middle, and an end, and they ride off into the sunset, and that's the end of it. You know what I mean? So even if they did, it's very fitting with the character.
Right, it
And
would
for
be
all
okay
we
to
know,
end.
and for all we know, Marvel might have told Jeff Lemire, "You're only going to get 12 issues."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and that might be another reason why the Old Man Logan series is so good, because Jeff Lemire is writing towards a conclusion.
Yeah, and he's just filling every page with everything.
Yeah.
Now, Rob, what if they said Old Man Logan is ending? Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino's Wolverine #1 will be starting in 2017.
No, I mean, well, okay, but see, here's the deal. I think it only really works with Old Man Logan because he's inherently a tragic character. Like he's a guy from a world where everyone died. Now, well, if you read Hickman's Fantastic Four, that thing continued on, but they destroyed Galactus. But he comes from a world that's not his own, or I'm sorry, that he destroyed. He led to the destruction of. You learn more in Jeff Lemire's run that he had a few opportunities to try to fix that, but no one ever took it seriously. He was in Secret Wars. He was suddenly thrust into an amalgamation of worlds that he didn't recognize. And then when Secret Wars ended, he's now in a universe that's not his own, and he's trying to prevent a future that he doesn't know may or may not happen. And that's the cool thing about this is because in Jeff Lemire's run, he's coming across characters that he fought in his universe, but everything's going different, everything's changing, and a lot of the characters are different, and so. It works because of it's juxtaposing how he remembers things and what direction they went in versus how things are now and his attempts to try to reconcile the two. That is why it works. That's why it works right now, because it's just a story about a tragic guy, literally trying to stop a future that he thinks may come to existence, but he doesn't know for sure. And he's starting to care about the people that he's with, like his connection with Jean Grey. The younger version of Jean Grey, it's in Jeff Lemire's run, he's kind of like a father figure to her. And some of the other runs, it's like he was trying to, get with her, which is weird. But
Real weird.
It's very weird.
Not okay.
Yeah, it's creepy. But
As it was, it's creepier now.
It's creepier now. But the idea is that he now has a character that keeps him anchored to reality, so that his paranoia doesn't run amok.
Right.
But at the same time, it's him still struggling to understand the situation, and that's why I think it works. So if they were to take Old Man Logan out of the equation, and it was going to be X-23 that was written by Jeff Lemire and drawn by Sorrentino, would it be good? Yes. Would it have the same impact as Old Man Logan? No.
Right.
And so,
Okay, what about Lemire and Sorrentino on Moon Knight?
I think
that I would read would be amazing. Like the art would just make that story amazing. It would make me care
Yeah.
about Moon Knight where I never cared before. Like,
Yeah.
Are they?
Tiffany. Oh, that's okay.
Oh no! Well, she looked like she was looking
I
at
was gonna
something.
say,
Is that
Tiffany's a bunch
announced?
What?
Is that announced? Like,
No.
oh, I saw you look down at
I'm
something.
just giving you a pipe dream, man.
No, we're just
Oh,
throwing
okay.
good ideas out there and then seeing how disappointed you are when they're not real. Tiffany, so you're our resident indie person. Are there a bunch of what are your favorite indie titles that
From
came
this
out
year?
this year?
Well, more recently, I've been desperately trying to make sure everybody's reading Reborn. It's an image book that came out, written by Mark Miller or Millar, whatever you want to say.
Miller.
That.
Miller.
I agree. I've heard people say it the
That's
other day.
how he actually says it.
Yeah,
Then I'm
he
happy.
says Miller.
Okay, good. Then eat it, Joel. It's Miller.
Oh, Joel doesn't know. He says Torbjorn.
Anyway, but it's got art by Capullo. So it's this spectacularly beautiful book with a female protagonist. It deals with life after death, like what happens after you die, where do you go, what is it like, and it turns out it's this crazy fantasy science fiction world. So you've got Miller writing this great story about what's beyond that, and you start questioning what's really going on there. Already we're only in issue 2, and then you've got Capullo just drawing everything. Anything and everything that comes to his mind is on those pages, and that's I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing because he did such an amazing job on Batman, but I think this
should go
is the
back.
break he needs in a sense, where it's just what do you want to draw?
Yeah, and that's how Mark Miller does those projects. Is he picks the big time artist that he wants to work with, and he usually has a conversation with them and says what's the one thing you've been itching to draw? And apparently when he had that conversation with Greg Capullo said, I want to draw a Conan book.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this feels like. It is
How fitting.
It is spectacular.
Yeah, great. I read issue 1. It's good.
Yeah, issue 2 is great. It's awesome. You get to see even more crazy stuff. So I'm I can't wait. I cannot wait for the next one to come
You
out.
should go back and take a look at some of Capullo's Spawn books because
Okay.
there's a lot of fantastical because he gets to like go to hell.
Right,
and he gets,
right,
like,
right.
There's a lot of that, and I guarantee you it won't be at the level of Reborn,
Okay.
but it will be like you'll be going, oh, look at what he's look at what he's trying.
Right.
Like, look at where he will be because. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in there. Because
I would love to throw a shout out to an indie title that I've been enjoying. There's an indie title out there that I've been loving since it started, and I don't think it gets enough credit, and that's Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen's Descender.
Yes.
It's a great book. It's still good. The story of Tim 21 is heartbreaking, and the simple fact is that you can see that Dustin Nguyen watercolors all of these pages, and they look amazing. It's a series, and it's only like, Tiffany, is it like 15 issues now, I think, or 14?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So so there's not much to catch up on, and like, it is a really sweet book. It's pretty heady. Like, there's a lot of stuff, and there's sort of like a United Federation of Planets organization, and there's like these robots. So there's some pretty heady concepts, but like, since they anchor it all around this one human kid and this one robot, this one android, it really like hits you in the heartstrings, and it's like a sweet series. And if you haven't been reading it, it's a great book.
Yeah, the art for that book is just, it takes me forever and a day to get through it because of the fact that I'm like, oh my god, how did you do these things?
With a watercolor brush.
We had him at I think Special Edition NYC on the last time that they ever had one.
Yeah, and it's like really good that he has all of his work behind like plastic because I found myself just drooling.
Because he brings like the original paints and sketches and stuff.
I tried to buy a page of Descender at it was either San Diego or New York Comic Con.
Yeah, so did I.
It was like $900, and I was like, "Woof, I can't do that."
You're like, I totally get it, man, but you're like,
it was some image for us. It was like he had like an alternate cover or something like that, and it was like a head. It was just like mostly white, but it was like his head, but like dangling from wires. And I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I go, how much is this? Oh, this one, I think it's $2,000-$3,000. And I'm like, oh!
Yeah, I was like, thank you, no, but it's beautiful and thank you.
But he watercolored it, so it's like number one.
But no, good on him because he's apparently gotten people to pay those prices, and if he can do that, good going.
Oh no, it's not like because it's a one of a kind.
And don't and way to not like sell your art short. He's like, this is I put this amount of work into it. My talent earned $2,000 a page.
Yeah, right? No, it's true. Another indie book that I guess once again I know people know about it, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. Is Monstrous. It's it's a spectacularly gorgeous book. Like immediately, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, but it always reminds me of like Final Fantasy, some of the early concept art from Final Fantasy, you know, like you see some of the covers for Final Fantasy, but you know, it's rated M, you know, because it's this very adult, very beautiful, very like angry like story. It's just, it's so amazing, and Marjorie Lewis is doing such a great job writing it. I can't get enough of it. And
gotta tell you, at New York Comic Con this past year, I was walking the aisles trying to get wherever the hell, because we were busy as hell this year. And I passed by, like, I was in the main floor where it's like choked with merchants. Yeah. And then I passed by a little like frame that said Monstrous. I'm like, oh, Monstrous. Tiffany loves Monstrous. And there is Santa Takeda and Marjorie Liu just sitting at a little table signing copies, and I'm like, I will purchase one of these. Yeah. I was like, nah. Yeah. So now I have my own personally signed copy of that book. Nice. I just love it. I really just think it's a great book. It's also, I mean, and I have noticed people have noted this, or at least one person did, but it's a very like it's heavy female character wise, you know. So you have this super not like, you know, quote unquote girly book, but it just features all these amazing female characters in this like magic world, which is like magic is like both a prevailing thing, but magical based beings are hated, and like it just creates this cool political climate, and like I just can't talk about it enough. Now, what do you think about the soft reboot that's coming up for Rat Queens?
What?
Rat Queens #1 is coming out in the next little bit, and they're doing kind of like a soft reboot of Rat Queens because of all the negative attention that the former artist had. They're just like, let's try again, and it might be kind of like, but I call it soft reboot because I think it's still going to be in continuity for Rat Queens, but it's going to be like resetting the stage for
I don't care for that. And one last indie book, again, something recently came out, because I could go far back. I could be like Paper Girls, and I'm like, Paper Girls came out last November.
Yeah.
But Max Landis, hot on the heels of American Alien, came out with a fantasy comic called Green Valley.
Yeah.
And it's just fun and awesome. And he really likes it. So I'm like, all right, Max, where are we going?
That's like Knights.
Yeah, it is like Knights. It's not just like Knights, it is. But I read the first issue. I know the second one's out. I haven't picked it up yet. But I with Max Landis, I'm just kind of like, I'm not going to try to guess anything because I'm just going to be wrong. Yeah. So just lead me. Take me on the journey.
Finding out how much influence he had on Channel Zero.
Yeah.
Which I read recently.
Dude, I'm looking at this art for Descender. This is insanely good.
Yeah.
I was like watching Rob just be
I was trying to figure out what Rob was doing too.
Yeah.
Good God, this art is insane.
It's beautiful.
Dude, I could see how this art could run, because I mean, imagine like this art with no speech bubbles, and it's just panels. I could see how this would cost a fortune.
Well, it's all one of a kind. Think about it. Like, he messes up on that page, he's got to start all over again.
Yeah, you got to go all over.
Do the Gotham book, the Little Gotham Knights or whatever, the little, like the chibi.
Little Gotham.
Little Gotham.
Yeah, which are beautiful in and of themselves.
Yeah.
He's wildly talented. Like, he's the kind of talented where I'm like, why? Why do you have like all of it? Couldn't you share some of it with the rest of us?
Nah.
Wow.
I'm like, that's fine.
Yeah.
God, that art's incredible.
It's spectacular. I feel like this year it was a good year for indie. It was a good year for me to go there for a little bit. I mean, like, I appreciated Doctor Strange, of course, coming out, and like Rebirth was great, but like, because like I wasn't like, we have to read all these, Marvel books for like the channel or whatever. I'm like, indie. How have you been, my old friend?
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, and I also, speaking of like good stuff, I got to read Motor Crush #1 early, and it is great, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And no pun intended, like that issue races to its finish line and has like several twists and turns, and they do this really cool thing in the issue where it's all about this like futuristic racing league, and they have these like. So all these issues, it's set in some weird future. So they have these graphics, these lettering boxes that are like, kind of like Starship Troopers, except like, imagine the Starship Troopers television set had like moved into Twitter. So it's the idea that like these things in your life are always coming at you, being like, do you want to check this video out? Yes or no? Like, and it's always happening all your everyday long. And
I
so
like that.
Yeah. So Motor Crush deals with that, and it's in your comic book shops in December, so you should go order that.
I've heard some really distressing things about Motor Crush, based solely on the rumors of a certain website that is.
I read that too.
Do you think it's bullshit, or you think it's do you think it's legit?
I think it is legit. I actually sadly think it's legit.
I will say I believed it immediately. And I was sad to say. The fact is, what we're hearing is, and this is actually good to tell everybody, because what we're hearing is that a lot of comic book retailers are not ordering Motor Crush at all.
Why?
They're not picking it up because it is a female black lead, and they're like, they won't sell, and retailers are gonna be on the hook for those books.
And the first issue cover is like a pinup of her. Yeah.
Even though Image has offered to refund all unsold copies.
Yeah. The first 3 issues of Motor Crush are completely returnable.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, if that's the case, if you're even vaguely interested in Motor Crush, tell your retailer that you want it. Because then they'll have to order it, and it will be in stores. And the fact is, if they order it and it doesn't sell, they can refund the damn thing.
Exactly.
But, like, prove them wrong, because from what I've heard, it's like, #1, retailers are saying like, female-driven adventure stories don't sell.
And that's BS.
And we know that. I mean, like, female-driven, like, tween-aged bicycle riding girls sell. Like, Paper Girls is a best-selling book.
Yeah.
And it's not like these are people we've never heard of. Cameron Stewart is a staple in comics today. Brendan Fleischer's another one. Like, Come on.
It's also ridiculous because
Fletcher.
it's printed under Image.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
it's
like you, this is the audience. You're the imprint is printing to their audience. Like it's not like
it's also especially crazy when we get to the end of this year, the #1 movie of this year is going to be a female-led sci-fi epic.
Yeah.
So I
You're
mean,
talking about
I don't think
Arrival?
Rogue One's going to be the movie of the year.
Oh,
I
Rogue
mean,
One. Oh, I thought you were talking about Arrival. I was like, Arrival was amazing.
Well, Arrival
like-
too. You can count Arrival on that, but
Yeah.
so
Rogue
the
One.
fact that some of these comic book shops think that won't sell is just bonkers.
female leads not selling is stupid. Like, look at Silk sells kind of well. Look at Spider-Gwen, look at Gwenpool, look at
fact
Carol
is, like-
Danvers, look at Miss Marvel. Like, you find female lead stories selling a
well,
lot.
the fact that like they're even like toying, not even toying, but like considering relaunching or like redoing like Rat Queens. Like Rat Queens is a female-driven book.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you need to go back and fix it, means that there is enough of an audience that you think you can resell that to.
Yeah.
Like,
Will it
you've
be
got to be out of
retitled
your
Rat
mind.
Kings?
Yeah. Rat Kings. That's a book.
I mean, I don't know.
That's a
Like,
Ninja
I
Turtle
wouldn't
spin-off.
surprise me.
Ah.
All right, anyways. But Motor Crush
Yeah.
#1 is awesome. I got to read it early, and it's cool.
That's
Awesome.
Where are your hookups, man? I know why you get Superman early. By the way, Jason taunted me. He was like, I got to read Boot Camp early, and I was like, yes, it was delightful, and yes, it was a perfect issue. Superman 11. Curse you.
Oh
that's
yeah,
all.
yeah, Superman 11. Yeah, I was like, that's a great issue.
Yeah.
Hey, man, if you got a hookup to read AD After Death before tomorrow, you just let me know because I really want to read that.
I don't have After Death, but I do have the emails for both of those authors, so I could be like, yo, send it to me.
I can't even tell you how excited I am for that book, and I don't want to hype myself up
Yeah.
for it. But Scott Snyder examining death and the ramifications of death not existing, I'm like, bring it on. In a 3-issue miniseries, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, no, it's fine. Go ahead.
I was gonna say really quick. The rumor is there's just a quick rumor apropos Justice League and stuff that maybe we'll see some Green Lantern after all.
Yeah,
You know?
that's the rumor going around.
That's the rumor. These, by the way, this is why we did the poll episode of the weekly poll
Yeah.
because like that's the conversations that would have
Yeah,
happened.
it's like, hey guys, like there will be a Green Lantern in Justice League, and Angela Bassett's been cast for a role in Black Panther. Thanks
Yeah,
for
and
watching.
okay,
Peace.
Did
Yep,
you
there you
hear
go.
that X-Men won't be in the MCU? Because so did everybody about the first time they asked Kevin Feige, like 6 years ago. Like, yeah. And by the way, like even if they were going to be in the MCU, his hardline stance would still have to be that they're not going to be in the MCU.
Yep.
Yeah.
The only way you will know that they're in the MCU is when they tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like when
it's
somebody references Charles, when Tony Stark's like, I know one man that can help us. His name is Charles Xavier, and he leads a team called the X-Men.
No, it'll be.
And
You
it's
know
like,
when
okay,
you'll know
cool.
when Jimmy Kimmel asks an actor who's going to be in the X-Men movie or in whatever is there any rumor like Feige will show up on or Robert Downey Jr. will show up on Kimmel and Kimmel will ask that question because Kimmel is the Marvel soundboard for like any pop culture announcements. So there you go.
A friend of mine who sort of like he talk about the hookups. He has some sort of like knowledge insider inside of Disney, and he has been saying for the last couple months to me that he thinks that next year's announcement is that Phase 4 is that, and he swears that this is true, and I'm like, I hope it's true. He
Right.
swears that Marvel has FF.
I
And
think
that's Phase 4.
I think that's
Yeah.
100% accurate.
I think so.
It's going to build to Galactus.
Yeah, I think that you have to go Galactus. I mean, like if Whedon really screwed everybody by making it like, okay, first Avengers movie, Thanos. You're like, we
Yeah.
gotta build towards Thanos. Like, come on, because you can't go bigger than Thanos unless you go Galactus.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And even then, it depends, because in the original Thanos run, Thanos beat Galactus, so...
Oh yeah, he turned him
Yeah.
into stone. So
Yeah.
you got that going on.
They're just gonna use the Mole Man.
I think that the indication will be Mole Man.
Let me tell you
I mean-
something. If we saw a Fantastic Four movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Mole Man was like, me and my Moloids are going to take over New
I would
York,
be
I'd be like...
100% on board for that.
I would not be. I'd be like, I'm done.
I am
I'm not
so
watching.
down.
I am out.
I'd be out,
I'm
man.
down.
Really?
Ugh.
This is what you fought to
And
the
by the
claw
way,
for?
here's your pitch really quick. The Moloids sink Avengers Tower, and the Fantastic Four have to rescue them.
Yeah, well, no, they say they do like they did. Did you see that? Have you seen that in Old Man Logan, Jason, where they were talking about how Ant-Man died? Because remember, like in the original Old Man Logan story, Ant-Man was just dead. Yeah, like the Maloids ate him, and I was like, how awesome is that? Like that was cool. I want to see the Avengers get eaten by the Maloids.
Being eaten? That's what I want to know.
Oh, it was a great way to beat him.
These are the questions that Rob asks.
These are the questions I ask.
That I tell you this, very.
Watching a giant man consumed, cannibalized by Maloids.
them driving through the ribcage of a dead Hank Pym was one of the best moments in Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
Pym Falls, awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what? That's what it was called. Yeah, Pym Falls.
Pym Falls. Yeah.
Literal and a joke.
And symbiote Tyrannosaurus Rex was also good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That was cool. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. But again, it's Thanksgiving weekend or Thanksgiving week, so I don't think we're going to have an episode of the Pull on Thursday because that's Thanksgiving Day. I can't imagine us having an episode then. So we figured
Joe might have one by himself because he's not going to celebrate.
That's right.
He's already celebrated his Thanksgiving a month ago because he's Canadian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's supposed to be like hanging out, so you can live stream with him or whatever. I don't know.
You can bug him.
I'll be out
It'll
doing
be
stuff like.
What is Joel silently thinking about?
Yeah.
I will be sleeping
How
all night,
awesome
all
it
day
is
long.
To be cannibalized by moloids. because-
Yes, that's exactly what it is. No, I'll be sleeping all day long so I can get ready to do like Black Friday shopping. No, but that turkey will help me go like sleep early. I'll take a great nap before I go Black Friday shopping.
A nap for the ages.
A nap for the
Thor
ages.
takes.
Yeah.
Thor takes a great nap.
It's called the Odin sleep. That's what Odin does. Odin's like, we're gonna go Black Friday shopping tomorrow, Thor. So in order to be prepared, I must enter the Odin sleep.
You gotta say that. You gotta say that to whoever you're hanging out with. Right? Be like, yo, I gotta go into the Odin sleep because that's the fear steals to vanquish.
Some doorbusters. Dude, I would get that comic. Like Odin goes Black Friday shopping and he's just like yelling at people, you know, and he's just like screaming like, "I'm Odin! Get out of my face!"
No, his Black Friday is he like goes to nowhere and he's looking for like the right space oats for his space steeds.
Yeah, there we go.
And he's got to like fist fight like the Brood.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Riding off on a chariot
He
pulled by
went there
goats.
One time we went to a mall and that was.
Yeah, yes. I go to nowhere because I tried going to an American mall and it was a mistake.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, guys, so I'm gonna go. I guess we're gonna go ahead and bounce off here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just I guess as a quick little thing, does anybody have any videos, like any plans? I'm taking a break. I think I have videos coming out tomorrow, and then I'm not doing anything until Sunday, I believe.
Nice.
So
Nice.
does anybody have anything coming out this week they want to run out, Jason?
Yes.
Seth?
Also,
I have a video coming out tomorrow, just a DC TV recap, like the weekly thing. But since all the shows went to sleep, we just talked about Supergirl. So there you go. It's a very, very minor one. But also out there, if you don't know about the Comics Drive for Soldiers that I'm running, you can find the information on my YouTube channel. There's a video. We can donate 20,000 comic books to troops overseas by November 30th. I will be putting out an updated count tonight. It's really good, but we can do better. We got a couple weeks left, so
Yeah.
there you go.
Awesome.
Did I beat the weekly poll? Did I do it the most?
You did. Yeah. You are the number one of the weekly pool.
Huzzah!
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Oh well, on back issues.
All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and bring this episode to an.
Let's now talk.
Go ahead, Sal.
Yeah. As far as Thanksgiving week goes, we shoot everything on Monday, so everything's still happening the same as usual. I'm dropping back issues. It's gonna be on For the Man Who Was Everything.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
And it's an old impression might be coming back in a big bad way, so check it out.
The Man Who Has Everything, that was a Superman story, wasn't it?
It was one of the best Superman stories, written by Alan Moore with art by Dave Gibbons from Washington. Bullshit anyway.
Oh man.
It's
Also,
Alan
I'm
from New
dropping-
Jersey. I'm the Alan from California.
I don't even recognize Dave Gibbons anymore. He signed off on the Before Watchmen's. But what else is there? Oh, I did another casting call, this time for the Midnight Suns / Marvel Knights Inevitable Netflix series.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Inevitable? Okay.
I think a Midnight Suns is happening. I don't think they'll be called that, but I think I think Blade will show up in the movie in the shows more like sooner than the movies.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
Wait, hang on. And before we go, I just want to thank the people in the chat for belated birthday wishes. I appreciate it.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
This weekend was Tiffany's birthday, so.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Tiffany. I didn't
Happy
know.
Well, thanks, Rob.
Yeah. I didn't know. You never said
I
anything.
didn't know either.
Yeah.
It was just like she didn't tell anybody a single thing. She didn't tell Soul. The only people who knew were like Sal and Ben and Ethan and
Benny,
family, and that
happy
was it.
birthday.
Well, you know what? Fine.
Well, you know what? Fine. Well, you know what? Fair enough. You got me. That's what I have to say to that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So you get all these birthday wishes from the chat. Everybody's like, "Happy birthday!"
Thank you, guys.
Oh man. But yeah, all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and bounce off here, and yeah, I guess we'll see you guys probably next week.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
Peace. There we go. Okay.